You are going to watch a breakdown of how to use sleight of mouth and frame control into a situation where there is an actual life or death matter. Not directly recorded, obviously, but it is told as a narrative by somebody who was in the situation. His name is Michael Franzese, and he's becoming more and more known on YouTube these days. He's an ex-mafia boss. And on a side note, I am very admirative of guys like him because on my younger years, I have made quite a few mistakes and kind of went slightly on that road, this kind of life. Not for long, but enough to meet quite a few people. No one of his caliber, definitely not, but quite a few people, and I know what kind of pressure it is to be in that kind of world. And for example, all those techniques of frame control, of sleight of mouth, I can use them whenever you want, pretty easily, but I know it would be very difficult for me, if not impossible, to use them if I have a gun on my head. I don't think I would be confident at all, whereas guys like him, they are at that level. They can use all that kind of verbal skills into this kind of high pressure situation. So in this video I wanted to break down a story that he tells of an argument he had with somebody else, and they were arguing over some life or death matter, and he reframed the whole thing beautifully. He tells how he did it. He's, I guess, not conscious of what he did in terms of sleight of mouth. He probably never studied that. It came automatic for him due to the years in high-pressure negotiation. And I wanted to break that down for you. So the whole scene is happening because Michael has an employee. I'm going to simplify the whole story. Michael has an employee, and the employee disrespected and talked in a bad way to the employee of another mafia boss. You get a simple story that way. You have the video in the description if you want to see the whole thing. It's basically the context. And then the mafia boss on the opposite side is contacting Michael because he is telling him, I want your guy dead for having disrespected my guy.
So we go in the back, and I see this guy sitting there. He was an old timer, kind of heavy set guy. He had one of his guys sitting next to him. And my friend introduces me. He says, Michael, this is amigo nostro Mario. He's a captain with the Genovese family. I say, Mario, how you doing? We sit down. I says, Mario, what could I do for you? He looks at me and he says, you got some Jew around you named Jerry Zimmerman? I said, yeah, Jerry's with me. He looks at me, he leans over the table, he smashes down his fist and he said, I want him dead. Now I'm thinking a minute. It's clicking. Oh, Jerry Zimmerman, Mario, the argument they had in the yard. So now I go back and I says, Mario, what's the problem? And he tells me, he says, look, your guy was very disrespectful to my brother-in-law. He said, my brother-in-law brought his car in. It wasn't a bad car. He started cursing out my brother-in-law. He cursed me out. He says, and for that, I want him dead. Who is he to do that? Now, I got to tell you something. I got a problem here because this is an old-timer. I was a younger guy. The old timers kind of resented the younger guys a little bit. I understand that. Figure, we haven't really, been around long enough to be sitting down with them. But those are the rules. We're all on equal ground when we're in that life.
From there, we can already see it just from the state he's into by describing the story. But for beginners in that stuff, in frame control and in conversational debate, it might not be that automatic. The first thing is that he's acknowledging, unconsciously, he's acknowledging it is going to take time. And it is normal that the person in front of him is going to argue, is going to be angry, is going to throw tons and tons of arguments and sentences and stuff to tell him that he has the right frame, whereas Michael wants to maintain his own frame. So the first essential point is to acknowledge that yes, it is going to take time. There is no magical phrase that can just shut somebody down verbally right away. That doesn't exist. When it happens, it is a matter of luck. Most situations, especially when somebody in front of you is really tough, it's going to take time to reframe the whole conversation and win the argument. Anyway.
So he says to me, and I want him dead. He said, that's it. No negotiation here. I says, Mario, first of all, I got to tell you something. I said, I heard the whole argument. I was up in my office on the second floor. The window was open, and I listened to everything. I said, Jerry never cursed at your brother-in-law, and he never said anything out of the way. Now, I'll be honest with you people, I had to lie through my teeth. Because if I agreed and I admitted it, Jerry was in trouble because he was disrespectful to his brother-in-law, and he said the wrong words, F you, whatever he said about another made guy. You don't get away with that kind of stuff.
So if we put that into the classic sleight of mouth chart and get more specific on what is the whole frame of the interaction here, it is basically your guy has been disrespectful to my guy, therefore, cause and effect, therefore he has to die. And the first thing Michael does here is, I think, extremely brilliant. It is that he's changing the whole meta frame to not stay within the frame imposed by the opponent. He's changing directly the whole frame by saying there was no disrespect of any sort, it was a polite conversation, something like this, just to break right away, right off the bat, the frame that the other person is trying to impose on him. If you had to remember only one thing from this whole video, it would be this one. Right away, if you're stuck in a situation with somebody who is confronting you, change the meta frame right away. Put that into a whole other frame where you are naturally right and where the conclusion of the discussion is naturally leading to what you want to happen in there. That is by far the most useful, I think, thing to do from the whole sleight of mouth model. It is the most useful tool you can remember.
So he said, well, listen, my brother-in-law don't lie. He said, he told me this is what happened.
So what the opponent is doing here is chunking down to one specific detail about one specific person into the context by saying your guy is a liar. We might also call that a redefine somehow, but I like to put it into a chunk down because it is a very, very specific detail about what kind of behavior that person has.
So he said, well, listen, my brother-in-law don't lie. He said, he told me this is what happened. I said, well, you calling me a liar, Mario? I heard the whole thing. I don't care what your brother-in-law told you. He's 100% wrong. I said, Jerry never said that. He said, well, I know my brother-in-law's around me 20 years. I said, well, Jerry's around me 20 years. Another lie, but I had a lie. Got to save my guy, right? I can't throw him to the wolves.
And what Michael responds with here, which is even more brilliant, I think, is responding with what we call apply to self. Applying to self the criteria that the opponent just threw at you. That way you break his statement without having to fall into it. You don't jump into the hoop, you are redirecting it into your own hoop. And if the person doesn't do the same, then he jumped into your hoop and you are controlling again the whole conversation. After the whole meta frame idea, the apply to self, I think, is the most clever thing you can do. Second, just after, if the meta frame doesn't work, it is one of the most clever ones because people are just not used to have the frame getting back on them or to have the spotlight they have put on their opponent put back on them right away with a calm, non-aggressive tone of voice. And they have to think about an answer just to understand the question you have just been asking. So it is distracting them from their original idea, exactly like a politician during a debate is preventing the other person to finish his sentences just to force them to organize again their trail of thoughts.
We're going back and forth, and this is lasting like 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour. This guy don't want to give in. Finally, he says to me, okay, fine. He says, I'm not going to kill him. I want to put him in a hospital. I says, if you put him in a hospital, I got to put your brother-in-law in a hospital. I said, what are we gaining here? I said, whatever you do to my guy, I got to do to yours. I said, that's how it goes. I said, we're not getting anywhere. Back and forth, back and forth.
And right there, he's doing something very common that we call a consequence pattern, which is basically making the person imagine a negative consequence in the future that will be produced by his actions in the present. It is something you can slip in about every situation or conversation. For example, the apply to self may be tricky to introduce sometimes into a debate, but the consequence pattern is very easy to put in any possible scenario. You can already notice so far that it is really like a dance. Michael is never brutally saying, no, you're wrong, you're a liar yourself. He's never attacking, he's always redirecting. It is exactly like Aikido. It's just redirecting the whole angry, massive, violent energy of the opponent into something else until the guy in front of him has just used all his cards.
He was not giving in, so I said, Mario, wait. I says, let me do this. I said, I know you feel a little bit insulted, a little bit slighted in front of your brother-in-law. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give your brother-in-law a new car. I said, what are we gaining here? Finally, he says to me, okay, fine. He says, I'm not going to kill him. I want to put him in a hospital. I said, if you put him in a hospital, I got to put your brother-in-law in a hospital. I said, well, whatever you do to my guy, I got to do to yours. I said, that's how it goes. And right there, he's doing something very common that we call a consequence pattern, which is basically making the person imagine a negative consequence in the future that will be produced by his actions in the present. New car, it's on me. I'll take the old one back. I said, whatever the difference is in price, I'll give him a new car. How's that? That satisfy you? You'd be happy with that? Tell your brother-in-law you won the argument, you got satisfaction. That's it. Don't worry about it. He looks at me, he says, no, I'm not satisfied. I said, Mario, a new car? I said, look, if we don't resolve this here, there's not going to be a resolution. We're going to take it upstairs. You're going to get your boss, I'll get mine, and we'll sit down. We got to go all the way with this because you're not going to hurt my guy. I said, that's it. So if I were you, I'm making a suggestion. I respect you. I give you all the respect. If my guy said something wrong, I said, I didn't hear it, but believe me, I'll give him a tongue lashing afterwards. I'll make sure you got satisfaction. Tell your brother-in-law you won. You're giving him a brand new car. What are you going to complain about? Finally, we resolve it. He's okay.
And right there, he has been using tons and tons of patterns, mostly the consequence pattern again, to put into the head of the opponent the future that he wants to install subconsciously, instead of letting the other person impose his own future. And he has also acknowledged the intention by saying, I understand you're pissed off, I understand you are hurt or something, and therefore I understand why you want to deal with the situation that way. And what I am proposing instead, so he's redirecting constantly until the person is just giving up. So the underline of this example, I think the most relevant one for beginners is take your time. Way too often beginners, they want to jump right away into one massive knockout verbal reframe, which doesn't work at first because it just never works at first. And then they're like, I don't know what to say. Take your time. It is normal. The person in front of you, especially if it is an angry person, violent or something, they will want to unload all of their negative energy on you anyway. So let them do. Let it slide over you and redirect constantly the conversation. It is exactly like a dance. Of course, it may seem a bit too advanced to be able to improvise all of that right away if you start from nothing. I am preparing a whole program on frame control, and I know how to teach that to people. I am a hypnotist. That is the kind of things we do, planting skills and planting new behaviors in the head of people hypnotically. The program will be in the description when it is out. It will probably already be out by the time you watch this video, otherwise it's gonna happen soon. And in this program, I'm gonna help you to really develop all that mental state first, that mental calm state, dissociating from pressure, and then having this verbal fluidity to always redirect the conversation in the way you want, no matter what the person is saying.